Good morning, and I am coming to you guys with a message this morning. I feel like I have to catch you all up on some things that I have already been teaching about and doing lessons on. And the more that I learn about different things, the more I just have to kind of, get some of this information out here. I know people don't. I don't know. I can't say how much you all look into these things or not, but it might be, new to me and old to y'all. So maybe I'm just catching up. But I am just like generating some of this positive energy and good news and all of this good stuff that I am taking in. So good morning, everyone. Let's just take a few minutes to take a couple deep breaths and reflect on our blessings and how grateful we are, and just thank God for allowing us to wake up to see a brand new day. So let's just reflect on the moment, just not look too far ahead or, worry about what happened yesterday. Being in the moment means so much. So I just want you all to kind of like gather yourselves and just be like, stationed right here at this moment. So today I want to talk to you guys about spirituality and religion. It is something that I had already did research on, and I kind of taught about before, and I just took that information and just kind of went over it and changed a few things around and all of that kind of stuff. But the way God gave it to me, like, I am so not ready. I'm not gonna say I'm not ready, but I was so resistant. I was like, why, God? You know how you argue with God sometimes when he wants you to do something. I was like, I do not want to talk about spirituality and religion, but I am in the process of writing a book called Religiously. And I talk about my personal experience about religion and spirituality and things like that. And I had already did a lesson on spirituality, because that is one thing that I talk about all the time. Don't let me keep breaking it down to y'all. So we do mental, physical, financial, spiritual, and emotional health. Those are 5 things that we need to focus on every single day. We talk about the other things. I am a health guru. I love going to the gym. I love doing things to keep my body in good shape, and I put healthy things in my body, even though I do like eating junk food sometimes. But I do prioritize putting healthy things on my body on a regular basis, and you can find me at the YMCA working out at least 4, maybe 5 days out the week. So that's the physical part about it. Even if you don't add that much activity into your your regular lifestyle, I am telling you that heart disease is real. So get up and go somewhere and walk for at least 20 minutes out of your day. You will be doing your heart great justice if you just get up and move around a little bit, opposed to just sitting around. You know what they say, a body in motion stays in motion. People who do choose not to move their bodies around, they sit there and wither and die. That's just what happens. So that's the physical part about it. Emotionally, trying to keep your emotions in check. Spiritually, staying in connection with your higher power. So that's what I'm talking about today. Religion and spirituality. So spiritually, we do have to talk about spirituality, because spirituality is real. I don't want to just keep throwing that word out there. And I just really want to acknowledge that the spirituality side of everything. So, of course, we talk about financial disciplines and financial health and financial wealth and where we want to see ourselves financially in the future. So we're going to focus on spirituality today. So, our topic for today is spirituality and religion. And the purpose of me talking about spirituality and religion today is to get a better understanding of the difference between the two and to know that there is a distinct difference between spirituality and religion. They are not the same thing. So, we might be misled sometimes in thinking that spirituality and religion is the same thing when they are not. So, I don't know how many of you are aware of the fact that spirituality and religion is two different things, but they are definitely two different things. So, that is the purpose of me, just kind of putting some information out there. I don't want to feel like I'm jumping over anybody's head, or I'm just getting too deep. I know I can be a little deep sometimes, and I do like to get scientifical and just look into the reasons behind a whole lot of things, but I also want to just keep it basic too. I want to keep it plain and simple and try to get the message across to where we can all understand. So even as I relay these messages over to you guys, I am getting a better understanding on these things as well. But even with that all being said, we all should have a personal understanding and a personal knowledge of religion and spirituality. So I don't want to talk to anyone like they never heard these words before. But I know people don't like talking about religion, and that's like getting on a public bus and just start talking about politics. You mess around and get beat up. You don't know who a Republican, you don't know who a Democrat. You mess around, be done start a riot on that bus. So I know this. I mean, this is not even the thing that you go to the dinner table and talk about, even amongst your own family. Because everybody is just not on the same page as far as religion is concerned. And spirituality is something of its own. But even just talking about religion, and even sometimes people don't want to admit where they are with religion because they just want to do what they are taught, do what they are told, and do what is right according to their family and things like that. And all of this stuff I discuss in my books. I ain't gonna be sitting up here giving away my books to y'all on a regular basis, because I do mention a lot of things sometimes when I am talking to you all that I put in my books. But the books are good. They are very informational, educational, inspiring, motivational, and they are just packed full of knowledge. So, they're not like 150 page books. The books are like 24, not even, no more than 30 pages to the books. And within those 30 pages, the books are just packed full of power. So if you haven't gone out there and purchased any of my books yet, you can look for me on Amazon. I already have 3 books that are published on Amazon already, and I am working on my 4th book right now that is called Religiously, which God is like kind of pushing me to be in y'all face this morning. I have a job to do. So, if you don't agree with the things that I say, don't be mad at the messenger. I didn't even fight with myself. I had a very busy week where I just did a whole lot this week. And, I was tired, but I sat up and I did my research, more research on spirituality and religion. I did my homework and I was just very obedient to what God was telling me to do. I didn't even waste my time arguing with God. Like, why do you want me to get on here talking about spirituality and religion? I just said, okay. I was just sitting here, sometimes I listen to audio books a lot. I read books, but I listen to audio books a lot. So I'm sitting here with like one eye open, and I got this audio book going in the background about spirituality and religion. So I had to listen to it halfway sleep, and then I had to listen to it when I woke up, and then I had to listen to it when I was cooking my kids dinner. And that's just how it is when you are researching things and you are into the study of things. But all of this is just out of plain old obedience. I just had to do what God is leading me to do and what He is telling me to do. I already said that I wanted to write 5 books, and then I was going to stop, get my books promoted, get my books out there, and just go ahead and sell my books. And I had the 5 names of the books. My light bulbs is like going off in my head, creativeness, and just thinking about what the names of my books, what I want them to be, and everything like that. And let me just say this. Religiously was never in the plans. Like, it just wasn't. Where the heck did this come from? I had 5 names of 5 different books that I wanted to write, and none of them were never anything about religion. And then all of a sudden, I'm just sitting here minding my business, and God is like tapping on my shoulder and was like, okay, while you at it, it's something that I need for you to do. And I'm like, hey, God. I'm like, okay. You can't argue with God. So, I am working out of obedience. If anybody wonders where this crazy lady just get her ideas of things that she wants to speak about, it ain't me, y'all. It's God. So, if you want to be mad at somebody, don't be mad at me. Take it up with God. What I am doing it all out of obedience. So let me just go ahead and get on with it. So spirituality is a higher internal experience of consciousness. That's what spirituality is. Basically, spirituality is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul. Spirituality is anything that is coming from within. So, let me just get that out there. Like, you're not going to see spirituality, but you will feel spirituality. So religion, on the other hand, basically means service and worship to God or the supernatural. The purpose of religion is to have a source of comfort and guidance, and to give life more of a purpose for us. So religion, we are supposed to be able to rely on. There are religious practices, or if we choose to join in any religion, it is there to comfort us, in time. This is the point of them forming these religions. It is simply for us to have something to rely on. Let me just say this and get it out the way. I am not biased to any religion, no matter what my personal beliefs are. I do not tell anyone what religion I feel like they should join, who I think they should call God by. That choice is yours. Even in my book, one chapter of my book, Religiously, the first chapter is actually called Believe. And in Believe, see, y'all got me giving away my book now. So in Believe, I talk about different experiences that led me to be the true believer that I am. And I never tell you or anyone, I never say, well, this is what I believe and you should believe what I believe. The only thing that I say as far as believing is concerned is I encourage everyone to have a belief system in some way, shape, or form. Don't just not believe. Even with this even with this study that I am doing now on spirituality and religion, I was looking up atheists, and I am not an atheist, so I never looked into what atheists are. I didn't even know what atheists are, and they basically, atheists just choose to not believe in anything. So I'm like, okay, that's your choice. And then doing the more I researched, I found out that 75% of China, I don't think they believe that there is a God. So don't quote me on it. You might have to look that up for yourself. So China does have a belief system. So recently they are allowing certain religions into China, such as Christianity, Islam, and different religions. But originally, the majority of China, they just choose not to believe. I believe that China doesn't believe in God at all, but they do believe. So they're not atheists, because atheists doesn't believe that there is a God, period. But I was like, wow, like I just didn't even know that. Not that I'm going to look at people of Chinese descent or whatever, in a different way. That's just something that I never knew. So, I mean, like, when I find out things like this, I be like, wow. I mean, these facts just are completely mind-blowing to me. So let me go ahead and keep on moving. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but y'all know I just get so excited and passionate when I am learning things, when I am digging up information, when I am relaying these things over to you guys. Like I said, this is something that I already taught on already, but I kind of dug more into it so I can jump on my social platforms and kind of get into some of the things that I have been learning and teaching about outside of social media. So I don't too often get a chance to get into some of these things with you all, but that don't mean, I ain't doing it, because I am. So, okay, religion, like I said, religion basically means service and worship to God. So we come together and we worship God when we are a part of a religion. And like I said, the purpose of religion is for us to have a source of comfort and guidance, and to give us more purpose to life. So I want to give you all a fact about religion. There are more than 4,000 religion practices and studies worldwide. 4,000. There are more than 4,000 religious practices and studies worldwide, with 12 of the 4,000 being at the top of the list as main practices. 4,000 religions. Like, I don't know where you at with that fact, but 4,000 religions, that's a lot of religions. But let me just give you a little side note. Out of all 4,000 religions, there is only one God. There is only one God. I don't care how many practices that you come up with, and you just go ahead and get these things together and organize them and all of that kind of stuff. I ain't here to knock nobody and what they doing, but when it boils down to it, it can be 10,000 religions. I mean, y'all can make a new one every day if you want to. But there is only one God. And that's just the reality of it. There is only one higher being. There is only one infinite intelligence. We couldn't stand to have more than one. This world would be a mess Okay, y'all think the world is a mess now. What if it was 4,000 gods? Yeah. All right, listen. I'm gonna stay on track, and I'm gonna keep my composure. But 4,000 religion. What if there was 4,000 guys? We would be bowing and hopping and skipping. We would just be doing all kinds of stuff. We wouldn't know left from right. Thank God that there is only one God. Can I just get that out the way? So real quick, I was listening to something educational. I don't know if it was motivational or not, but I do this quite often. So I got this educational video going in the background. And matter of fact, let me tell you this. I was listening to Les Brown. So this is something I was listening to yesterday, but I remember listening to Les Brown, who is a motivational speaker. So Les Brown was saying he's a very popular, very successful motivational speaker. I know a lot of you, well, some of you probably have heard his name before, Les Brown. Big shout outs to him. He is a major inspiration in the motivational world community. So anybody out there who is aspiring to be a motivational speaker and needs some kind of guidance, listen, or you just want some good motivation, listen to you some Les Brown. I listened to a lot of Les Brown before. So I was listening to this video with Les Brown, and he was saying how when he found out that he had pancreatic cancer, he was just calling God by everything, and then I heard someone else say that yesterday too, like when it come down, like when your back is up against that wall, when your mother is breathing her last breath, or your child is in a car wreck, or something like, you will call like whatever works at that point. And I was like, wow. So I heard Les Brown say it, but then I also heard somebody else say it as well. So I say that because like we got all these religions going on, but when it come down to it, like in the moment of desperation, we don't know if Buddha gonna work, or Allah gonna work, or Jesus gonna work, or Confucius, or I don't know how many different names they got out there that they call God by. But in a moment of desperation, you be calling everybody. Like what my mom used to say, la-di-da, and everybody. So that right there just took me out. So I'm going to keep going. So, it's true. If you don't want to take my word for it, you can, Google any information that I am relaying over to you guys. When I come to y'all, I am spitting straight facts. I know I give a lot of my personal experiences from time to time, and, just talk about, how I feel, my opinions on certain things. But the majority of the things that I come before you guys with are straight facts. So there is, you can Google it, you can look it up, you can look at your encyclopedia. There are more, as of today, February 2023, there are more than 4,000 religious practices and studies worldwide. So 83% of the world's population consider themselves to be faithful to their religion. So the majority of the world, like when you do a study, the majority of the world consider themselves faithful to their religion. So today we are talking about spirituality and religion. I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking about spirituality versus religion. I just want to kind of drop a couple jewels on you guys about them both, spirituality and religion. Me personally, I am a very spiritual person. I have always acknowledged the spiritual side of myself. So I'm going to get a little bit more into that in a few minutes. Let me continue on with my facts. 83% of the world consider themselves to be faithful to a religion. So this is just a side note, my personal opinion that I wrote down myself. It is not our obligation to follow in the footsteps of this world. We owe this world nothing. And I say this because I don't want anyone to think that they are obligated to join a certain religion or be a part of a certain religion. There's no obligation there. And this is why I say that, because you will find yourself being wrapped up in the studies of religious practices and not more so focusing on being connected with the higher being. I feel as though what we do internally in our private time is more important than what we do in church or in a mass or wherever. It is more important than dressing a certain way, speaking a certain way, greeting a certain way, and all of that kind of stuff, so you can look a certain way on the outside, and then something is going on the inside that need to be tended to that we are not focusing on. So to me, spirituality is way more important than religion to me. I'm not knocking religion, and I'm not saying that I am not a religious person, but I am more spiritual than I am religious. And I recognize that about myself. And that is just a calling from God to me, because he always pulls on my spiritual side to allow me to recognize the fact that he is there with me. So we owe this world nothing as far as religion is concerned, but we owe God everything. We owe God everything. So if you want to kind of get yourself into a good place spiritually, you don't necessarily have to look for religion to get the spiritual connection that you need. You just need to keep in touch with the spiritual side of yourself. So I'm going to stay with my notes so I don't get too far ahead of myself. I do believe that religion has purpose because it is structured, and us as human beings tend to not be so structured all the time. Like, we can be like willy-nilly all over the place, and somewhere doing something that we shouldn't be doing, when we could rather be preparing ourselves to come together for, a religious meeting, whatever that might mean to you and whatever religion that you may follow. So I do believe religion has purpose because it is structured, and we can, instead of being at the bar or, I don't know, I ain't gonna walk up nobody aisle this morning, because y'all know the kind of stuff that y'all like to get yourself wrapped up into when it can be sinful in nature, and you could rather be doing something else more structured that's going to benefit you more, like coming together in a more religious aspect and doing something productive with yourself. So I do believe that religion has purpose, but it is not absolutely necessary. So you have to put your self-discipline, your complete self-discipline in check. Like, if you want to be that person who want to stay connected with God without having to be bound to a religion, then you have to be disciplined with yourself and begin practices of your own. Start your own religion. I'm not going to start messing with y'all this morning, but, just start doing stuff, on your own time that that you're supposed to be doing on the regular basis, so you can stay connected with God. So that's just my outlook on it. So we're going to start talking about spirituality. What does spirituality mean to you? You know, I just wrote that simple question down. And how important is it to you? So that is just something that you can reflect on within yourself. What does spirituality mean to me? Like, how do I feel about spirituality? Where am I right now as far as spirituality is concerned? So I'm going to give you a couple facts about spirituality. The first fact that I want to give you about spirituality is we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go check the facts. You can look into it on your own. Us and our human minds think that we are more human than we are spiritual, and it is the other way around. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. The spirit never dies. The spirit that we are all born with, no human being can be born into this world without being assigned a spirit. We are all assigned a specific spirit to our human flesh when God creates us. So this spirit that we are assigned was here before it jumped into this flesh, and when it leaves this flesh, it's going to still be here. It's just not going to be in this flesh anymore. It's still going to be in existence. So we are spiritual beings. We call ourselves human beings because we recognize only what we can see because of the human nature in us. But we are more spiritual than we are human. That is just a simple fact. You can go ahead and back me up on it and go ahead and check, my resources if you don't believe that I think I know what I am talking about, but it's true. So fact number 2 is you can live without religion, but you cannot live without spirituality. That is a simple fact. It might be a lot of religious leaders who don't agree with that, but it is true. Like, you can live without having to join a specific religion, but you cannot live without acknowledging the spiritual side of you. We must acknowledge our spiritual being by being conscious of its existence. So it's not as complicated and difficult as we might think it is. We just have to acknowledge the fact that the spiritual side of us does exist. So I'm going to give you a few benefits of spiritual wellness. So don't sit here and look at me like I'm crazy this morning, because I talk about spirituality all the time. It is on my top 5 list. So don't just think I'm jumping out the jet and just getting into something that, is totally alienated for me to talk about, because I talk about spirituality. I just have never gotten into it before with you guys like I am getting into it right now here today. So a few benefits of spiritual wellness. I only wrote down a few. So you will have greater peace and calmness. And I'm going to break down to you why you need, that just sounds amazing alone. I can stop right there. To be honest, you will literally have greater peace and calmness when you allow yourself to be connected to your spiritual being. That's one. Number 2 is you will have better physical health. I know a lot of people can be just settled with the state that their physical health is in. We just get where we are with our physical health. We get comfortable with where it is. and we don't take it serious until some of the red flags start going up and the doctor tell us, listen, this is going on, that is going on, you need to buckle down and focus more on having a better physical health experience. And even when we do get the red flag, we get the red flags before the doctor even say anything, number one. And even when the doctor do say something about the red flags, we still do whatever we want to do as far as our physical health is concerned. So don't look at me crazy, because you know I'm telling the truth. So let me keep going. 95% of illnesses such as obesity, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems, and asthma are all caused by stress. This is how much we need to be in touch with our spiritual being, because we need this calmness and peace more than we think we know. We'll be out here stress eating, chain smoking, all kinds of stuff, when you can save yourself so much stress by being in touch with your spiritual being on the regular basis. That is enough for me to stay connected alone. So, I mean, I shouldn't even have to say no more. You know, we need to stay connected to our spiritual being. I did not even know that until I researched that. 95% of the illnesses that we are diagnosed with are self-imposed illnesses. These are things that we do to ourselves by our environment, the people that we associate ourselves with, the things that we put into our bodies on the regular basis. All of these things causes us to have fatal illnesses when we can simply learn how to spend more time being connected to our spiritual being. So I hope y'all is like sticking with me here. This morning I am talking about spirituality and religion. These two are very important things. You know, I know we have a whole lot of other things going on in our life. We got to go to work. We got to pay the bills. We got to feed the dog. We got to take care of the kids and all of that kind of stuff. But guess who else you got to take care of? That person that you are looking at in the mirror, that person whose teeth you got to brush every day and you got to wash every day. You have to take care of that person every single day. Something came upon me not too long ago, and I said to myself, I wonder who society or people in general consider as being the most important person in this world. Like, to you, who's the most important person in this world? Is it the prettiest person in the world? Is it the most handsome, healthy, smartest person? Is it the wealthiest person in the world? Is that the most important person in the world? And it just dawned on me, like I got the answer to that question within moments of me thinking about who the most important person in the world is. And I got the answer. The most important person in this world is each and every last person in this world. You are the most important person in this world. I am the most important person in this world. Each person individually should be treated as the most important person in this world. How you feel matters. What you think matters. What you got to say, it matters. I know nobody never broke it down to you like that before, but it's true. We are in ourselves the most important thing that ever happened in this universe. You are more important than you know. This is why I'm breaking these things down to you, so you can take time out and think about where you stand with these things, and you can apply them into your own life and just realize the importance of them, because it is important that you do. It is important even if you are or if you are not in a good place as far as any of these things are concerned. You need to work on being in a good place. It's important. It's important because when you don't, the world loses value and the world loses relevance when we lose ourselves and when we lose you. You got to hang on in there for everybody. Like, everybody got to hang in there for everybody. It is just that important. So this is why I'm talking about spirituality and religion today. So let me just keep on going. Stay connected to your spiritual being. Never ignore the spiritual side of you. You can only start where you are. Your spirituality is not going to run and hide from you. It is only not going to be not making itself known when you ignore it. But when you acknowledge it, you become closer to your spiritual being the more you acknowledge your spiritual being. So like I said, you can only start where you are. Don't force it. All you have to do is make yourself aware of it and allow your spiritual being to guide you on the way that you need to go. It is like for the parents out there, you ever have a 3-year-old and you're walking and y'all walking to the store and the 3-year-old don't know which way to go, and you like, come on baby, we got to turn this way at the corner. That is what your spiritual being is going to do for you. It is going to guide you along the way that you need to go. You will never feel alone. You will never feel like you are by yourself when you have your spiritual being connected with you. So this is why being connected to your spiritual being is important. It is not just for, people who study religion and the scientific part of religion and all of that kind of stuff. It is for everyone to learn how to stay connected to their spiritual being. So I am getting ready to start wrapping this up because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but will also let me to write in my book religiously is not only did God tell me what I was going to do, because he God and you can't argue with God, but just me and my personal experience with religion. So basically, and this is all in my book. I mean, I know some of y'all might choose to buy my book religiously, which will be published soon on Amazon. But in religiously, I talk about how I was born and raised into 2 different religions. So my father was always an Islamic man. I was born into a religion called the Moorish American religion. Big shout outs to them. I have mad love and respect of the people of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I have learned so much over the years about what it is being a Moorish American is about. So basically, Moorish American is a more scientifical religion, which I love science, and that's probably why I have so much respect for the Moorish American religion, because I love getting down to the science of everything. So the Moorish American religion was founded, like, I think back in 1600 BC or something like that. So it is a religion that goes way, way back and still exists now to this very day. I don't know on what capacity, how big. I know there's Moors everywhere. You can find Moors like in your science books. Certain books teach about the science behind Moorish American religions, and some of them probably choose not to. But there is a lot of scientific knowledge behind the Moorish American religion, which is very scientifical. But when we talk about being connected spiritually, there is a difference between matter science and religion and spirituality. There is just a difference. When you're talking about spirituality, you go higher than just being connected to a religion. So science and religion is different, from spirituality. And then my mom was always a Christian. She did dabble into the Moorish American religion because I think she may have been married to a Moor. I'm not sure. But, as the years went on, my mom decided to stay into her origin, her religion of origin, and continue to be a Christian. She loved Jesus Christ until the day that she was no more. So I was basically born into two different religions. And then there leaves just little old me trying to figure out what is the right thing to believe. So ultimately, with anything, we should come up with our own philosophy on what we feel as though is appropriate for us to believe. And that's just really with anything. We all have our own individual outlooks of the world and how we view different things. But it was very confusing for me in the beginning. Is it confusing for me anymore? No, because I have gotten to learn myself. I have learned to love myself. I done been to hell and back on a handbasket twice. So it has been so many times where it was just me and God. It was just me and God. There was no religion. There was no practices. There was no mother. There was no father. My father passed away when I was 21 years old. Certain people of the Moorish American religion I stay connected with over the years, but nobody said, let's continue on with our practices or, made it, known of the importance of continuing, to stay in the Moorish American religion, and no one forced me to be a Christian either. Ultimately, I made my own choice, my own personal choice of who and what I chose to believe in. But what is more important to me than anything, than any religion, is always staying connected with my spiritual being. I am a very spiritual person. I always have been. I never ignore the spiritual side of myself. And that is how I stay connected with God. Not so much through religion, but through spirituality, and that is more effective to me. So yes, I do go to church sometimes, but I don't make myself feel obligated to go to church. If I am not in a church, I am the church. I always have that connection with God, and that is not only on Sundays. It's me and God every day, all day. So if you want to talk about worshiping and being connected to the spirit and spirituality, it is just something that I do on the regular basis. So I'm just grateful for myself and for God for having me in that place. And I don't know if some people are more spiritual than others, or is it just the simple fact that some people acknowledge the spiritual side of them more so than others? So I don't know, but I know I am a very spiritual person. I do recognize that in myself, and I do appreciate that in myself. And that is one thing that is at the top of my list. I prioritize my spiritual being. It keeps me in check mentally, allows me to focus on the things that are really important in life that money just cannot buy. So, you can try to live your life without being connected to the spiritual side of yourself, but I don't know how successful you would be in life, and I don't know how far you will actually be able to go to live a more meaningful and happy and healthy life without being connected to your spiritual being. So I'm glad I got that out the way. And that is just like, just a little outlook on, my personal background and my personal experience with religion and spirituality. I have saw the upside of Islam and Christianity, and I have saw a disappointing side of Islam and Christianity. And I don't think neither one of them are any better than the other. Even still to this very day, I see things that are disappointing to me, of people that sit in high places, that I feel like they lose sight of the importance of why we should come together and worship God, So I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to pull nobody cards, but that is just my honest opinion and outlook on both religion, and that's just the ones that I experienced personally. So I know that there are many different religions out here, and all of them have their upside and all of them have their downside. At the end of the day, people are still going to be people, who they are and how they are, no matter what religion you choose to fall under or who you choose to call your God. No matter who you choose to call your God, just recognize the spiritual side of you and know that there is a God. So be pulled more towards spirituality than religion. That is just my personal opinion on that. I know a lot of people teach religion a lot on the regular basis, but say if there was no religion and we just all come together and just worshiped, it would be like the symphony of heaven. We won't have to, talk about how your religion is this and your religion is that, and why you wearing this and why you ain't wearing that, and all of that kind of stuff. We would just simply focus on what's really important, and that is just worshiping God, because that's all that really matters anyway. It would just be like the perfect symphony, just different people playing different instruments, but just all coming together in worship. And that's how it probably really should be, opposed to a lot of the friction that occurs when we don't agree on, what we should be calling God, and all the different kind of things that we don't agree upon when we have different religions, just not agreeing on everything. But in all reality, the main thing that is important is worshiping God. We were born to worship. Our sole purpose as human beings, we were created on this earth in our physical flesh to give reverence to our higher being. That is really why we're here, to acknowledge the fact that we are not why we exist, that there is an infinite intelligence, that there is a higher being, that there is a God that is responsible for everything, every living thing that happens on this earth. Yes, we have natural disasters and different things that happen on this earth, but we also have the sun and the moon, the sun that was created by God. Did you know that 1,000 earths can fit inside of the sun? That's how big the sun is. God created that sun. That's how great God is. God created the sun did I say 1 million or 1,000? 1 million earths can fit inside the sun. A lot of people don't even know that the sun is that big. to fit 1 million earths inside of it. But God is the creator of that sun. He is the creator of the moon. He is the creator of the universe. How you know that the ocean knows where to stop, where the sand begins, for us to enjoy a beautiful day at the beach and all kind of stuff. This is the God that we have to give reverence to every single day. This is the spiritual side of us that we need to acknowledge on the regular basis. So religion is not as important as a lot of people try to make it out to be, because you can stay connected to your spiritual being without being a part of a religion. A religion is just a practice that will keep us in order, and it's not structure. That is structure. Spirituality is not structure. You can stop and pray and rely on your spiritual being at any given moment. You know, it don't always necessarily take fasting and taking communion and, you know, bowing down 6 times a day and all of that kind of stuff to be connected with your spiritual being. I am just telling y'all things that are absolutely true this morning. So of course I got my quotes going on for y'all today. I love just looking into different quotes, and also when I write down quotes, it is of amazing human beings with fantastic achievements, you know. So the first quote that I wrote down was written from a man named Buddha. So Buddha was the first religious teacher ever. So he was a wise man who founded Buddhism back in the 5th century BC. I believe they call it BCE or something like that. It was because it was before Christ. So many years ago, Buddha founded Buddhism. So if I'm not mistaken, Buddha would be that little round fella that sits in the nail salons for the ladies, and I think his arms move or something like that. Oh, no, that's the cat. So Buddha is like the little fat, I think, Chinese looking man, and they worship that statue, which I can't say. I don't believe that anybody should be worshiping any kind of statue. But Buddha was a great man. You know, he founded Buddhism, which rapidly developed in different places across the world once he founded Buddhism back in the 5th century BCE. So this is what Buddha said: just as a candle cannot burn without fire, a man cannot live without spirit life. Those were the words of a wise man. I did not just make that up. If you don't believe me, you can go research quotes from Buddha. I'm sure that there are many more of them, but this is just one of them that jumped out to me when I was gathering this information that I had to gather about spirituality and religion. Actually, this is when I just did a in-person motivational speech about spirituality, which I felt as though was very important. I just went a little more in depth with this information when I chose to come before you all with it. So I'm going to read that quote from Buddha again. Just as a candle cannot burn without fire, a man cannot live without spirit life. So, you take that how you want to take it. I feel as though it is very important to have a spiritual life and to be connected to your spiritual being. I know I am going more into detail about spirituality than I am religion, but like I said, I feel as though people put on a good show. As far as religion and different things are concerned, you want to be looked at in a high regard. So, we have learned how to put on a face and put on an act and put on a show and all of that kind of stuff, when you can be, and sometimes people are just really destroyed on the inside because they're doing more putting on a show than they are work on themselves on the inside. So being connected to your spiritual being is something that I feel as though should be prioritized, opposed to jumping into a religious practice just because we feel as though that is the right thing to do. My personal opinion, you don't have to agree with me. That is just how I feel about the matter. So I wrote another quote from a man named Bob Marley. God rest his soul. Bob Marley, I know a lot of us probably heard of Bob Marley. So basically, Bob Marley was a world ambassador for reggae music. What they had, don't worry, be happy. No, every little thing is going to be all right. The song is called Three Little Birds. I love that song. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. That song from Bob Marley will go down in history forever. So big ups to you, Mr. Marley. But he just was so big on spreading love and peace and positivity and getting to know oneself and getting to love oneself and all of that kind of stuff. Bob Marley will go down in history forever. He was a very positive man. So this is what Bob Marley said. He said, wisdom is better than silver and gold. Oh, he said it is better to lose. He said, don't, wait, did I write this down right? Okay, don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. Don't gain the world. Everything in this world that we want to have so bad. We want the cars, we want the clothes, we want the beautiful women, we want the jewelry and the Louis and the Gucci and the Dior and all of that kind of stuff. And you can gain the world. You can gain the things of this world. Abundance is your birthright. But in the process, don't lose your own soul. Don't lose your own soul. So taking time out to gain some wisdom and knowledge and sharpen up your spirituality and all of this kind of stuff is really for your own good. So I feel as though we should put those things on top of being able to gain wealth and finances and, become rich and all of that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, but we have to take care of ourselves internally. Wisdom, learning from the things that you have went through. You must live and learn. You can't keep making the same mistakes today that you made 10, 15, 20 years ago. That is insanity for anyone to continue to go through the same things that they have went through for the past 10 or 15 or 20 years. I mean, there's some old folk out here. And I ain't trying to knock on nobody's front door this morning, but there is some old folk out here that is still walking and living in complete ignorance, that just not have learned from their life experiences. It just don't make no sense. We have to be wise about our actions and the things that we do. We can make mistakes. Mistakes are allowed as human beings. Mistakes are allowed. But I'm one person that always said, you want to make your mistakes far and few. You don't want to make mistake after mistake after mistake, and you just mashing together mistakes. One mistake after another, after another, after another. Ho. It's time to stop and regroup and think about what's going on here. Don't continue to make a bunch of mistakes all the time. Like, you're supposed to not even be able to remember the last time you made such a horrible mistake. Like, wow, that's not even in my character. I haven't made a mistake like that in a long time. Or, I've been so careful not to do things like that. Don't make it a regular thing for you to just continue to keep making mistakes throughout your life. You will make an example out of yourself of what you should not do and what you should not be in life, and none of us wants to be made an example out of our life. So that's what I got out of Mr. Bob Marley's quote, when he said, "Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver and gold." So I'm going to wrap that up, you guys. Thank you all to everyone that joined my live this morning. Good morning. Shout out to y'all. I'm so grateful for you all for just jumping on and joining my live and just getting a little bit of, the things that I have been learning over some time. These are things that I have already kind of jumped out there and spoke about and taught about, but I'm trying to catch y'all up with things that I have already spoke about before in the past. That's why I said y'all will see me on Wednesdays, but like I go out in the street on Wednesdays too. So I am in local resource centers, and I am actually speaking before people on Wednesdays after I get done speaking with you all. But on Fridays I want to double it up for you guys, because I just want to catch you up on some of the things that I have already been doing. So I felt as though this was a very relevant message, just to talk about some things and also to clear up some things as far as religion and spirituality is concerned, because a lot of people are confused, as far as religion is concerned and spirituality. We don't know what to do, which way to go, what's wrong, what's right. You will not go to hell if you don't join a religion. And I know it can probably seem that way sometimes, because it's what our forefathers have done, what our mother has done, what we're supposed to do, what our family do, when we all do this and do that, and we all supposed to be doing the same thing. You can do your own thing. You can stay. When I say you have to be creative and growth, period, as an entrepreneur, I have to be creative. When one thing doesn't work, you have to try something else. You have to be creative in life and growth and moving forward and, just growing as a human being, period. So, you can't just only rely on religion, to get you where you need to be spiritually. You have to stay connected with the spirit, because number one, life is going to show up. We are going to experience tragedies and losses and all kinds of things like that in our life. And when you are connected to your spiritual being, it just makes the load so much lighter, because you know that you will always have your spiritual being to depend on. Like, okay, God, I did not see that coming, but you got, and you saw it coming because you got. So, I'm going to need you to hold me up on this one, and that is just exactly what he going to do. God never fails to be God. Sometimes religion can disappoint us. People can disappoint us. Our family can disappoint us. But God will never disappoint you. So if you are one of those people out there who are confused about what direction you feel as though you need to go in as far as religion and spirituality is concerned, my advice to you is always stay connected to your spiritual being. You will feel a conviction in your spirit when you doing things that you ain't supposed to be doing. I was like, oh, what was that? I was being convicted left and right. And the more that I began to be obedient, the better my life got, and the closer I began to be to my higher power. I don't do half the things that I used to do. And I don't do half the things that I used to do. And I am more closer to God than I have ever been in my entire life. That comes from obedience, and that comes from being connected to the spirit. So don't go crazy or lose your mind trying to figure out what religion that you should be a part of, always recognize that there is a higher being and you stay connected to it. If you feel led to join a certain religion for whatever reason, by all means do it, because there is a lot of structure that comes along with being part of a religion. Structure that we don't automatically have because we just like to do whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it, and if we don't feel like doing it, we ain't gonna do it, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not discouraging anyone to become a part of a certain religion, but even if you don't feel bad, but always stay prayed up and stay connected to your spiritual being. So I'm going to go ahead on and wrap this up, but I want you to look at yourself in the mirror today, and I want you to repeat a few things to yourself. I want you to write this down, and even if this too much, if it was a little heavy on you and you don't want to repeat this to yourself today, put this in your side notes and go back to it tomorrow, because I want you to look at this and I want you to tell yourself this, because what I'm getting ready to say to you is true. Say to yourself, God has bigger plans for me than I have for myself. And it's true. God has bigger plans for you. You don't even know what his plans are. You ever heard that saying, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather? You can go ahead on and make you up a bunch of sandwiches and make you some fresh squeezed lemonade and throw you some snacks together and get your blanket and go lay up under that tree, and it can thunderstorm on your picnic. So, you can plan that picnic, but it ain't going to always turn out to be that beautiful picnic that you think is going to be. And that goes as far as anything is concerned. It's just true. So God has bigger plans for you, and you have to recognize that. That's why we have to be obedient to the Spirit, because his plans is bigger than yours. Sometimes we want to hold on, to the failing business or to the bad relationship. Maybe God has a better relationship in store for you, or maybe God wants a relationship with you. So we're so busy trying to hold on to that marriage or to that relationship or even to that friendship, or even with some of our relatives, that is holding you down. That does not mean you any good. Sometimes it is better to let some things go. It is more painful and harmful to hold on to some things when we can just let it go. God's plans for us is greater and bigger and better than the plans that we have for ourselves. So I want you to recognize that within you, and I want you to admit that to yourself, because it's true. Whether you want to admit it or not, it is true. Say to yourself, God has bigger plans for me than I have for myself. Say that to yourself. Do it for me. And listen, today, say this to yourself as well. Today, I believe. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not telling you who to believe. I'm not telling you where to believe. I'm just telling you to believe, because you have to. It's a must. We have to believe. I'm not saying nothing against those who choose not to believe. I'm going to say I don't necessarily agree with being a non-believer. You will get nowhere fast by being a non-believer. So this is what I want you to do, not for me, but for yourself. And I want you to say this to yourself. Today, I choose to believe. I want you to make that personal choice for yourself today. It will benefit you greatly in the long run. So thank you guys. God bless you guys. Thank you all so much for joining my live on this morning. I am going to move forward with my day. I don't know if I made that look easy, but it was more difficult than you think, because I'm like, not that it is not my concern where different people are with religion and spirituality. All I know is I'm trying to get myself together. So God was like, okay, well, listen, in the process of you getting yourself together, I want you to help somebody. So, like I said, it is all out of obedience that I am in your face on a Friday morning talking about spirituality and religion. So, God bless you all. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Lord willing, I will be right back here next week with another message. I probably double up on y'all again next week, Wednesday and Friday, just to get you all caught up on some of the things that I have been teaching lately on the regular basis. So I love you all. God bless you all. You have an amazing weekend and an amazing Friday. In the meantime, you guys continue to stay blessed.